All right, good afternoon, everyone. This is the CSRN podcast live with U.S. Senate candidate Morgan Harper. I know you usually see us on Tuesday with Julian, Ruth, Jody, and everyone else, but today we're doing something a little bit special. But you know what? I want to just get right into it. Who are you? And why U.S. Senate? And why now?
Yeah. So my name is Morgan Harper. I am from Columbus. A lot of how I find myself in politics at all is just some early life experiences I had there. I was, born at Ohio State, given up for adoption. I lived in a foster home as an infant, and then was raised on the east side of the city by my mom. And like a lot of us, we had some early life experiences that just woke me up to the fact that we're vulnerable and life can change overnight, and we need to have systems in place that protect us and put us in a position to be able to live out our potential. So that's been the mission of my life. It's taken me a lot of places. It took me all the way to Washington after becoming a lawyer. And that's where, I was working after the financial crisis and seeing, as I was at an agency that was going after big banks.
Wow.
We had a lot of politicians that were taking money from big banks and trying to stall progress. We don't have a policy problem. We have a politician problem, and that's only going to change with more people that have that community experience getting into power to represent us effectively.
Now, we just came from our beauty shop, barbershop tour.
Love the tour.
What was that like? And big shout out to Studio 329. Big shout out to Mr. Impeccable, Steve Sport and Cut, H&D's, Foster's. Of those shops.
We covered a lot of ground.
Right. All of those shops. And a big shout out to Julian Mack, who helped organize all of this. And then at the last minute said, I can't come. All right. Well, we're getting back for that. But big shout out to him and everybody. What was your thought about meeting all of the people and hearing all of those questions?
Yeah. Well, one, thank you for having me both for the podcast and the tour. And shout out to Julian, who's going to join us for putting that together. And then all of our hosts. I would say, one, why we like to do these types of tours is I want to connect with as many real people as possible, small business owners included, to hear what's going on. Because otherwise, how do I know what my agenda is to be? I want it informed by the real experience. And, topics that we were hearing from people, in addition to support for small business owners, which, a lot of whom have been hit hard by the pandemic and all the economic uncertainty, is a lot of concern about violence.
Right.
And this is something I'm hearing from people all over Ohio, but including here in Toledo. How are we going to do something about violence and a lot of our kids' lives being lost?
Now, I wanted to bring in Julian. Julian serves as our spokesperson for CSRN. And CSRN was formed 7 years ago. Let's see what's happening with that. Let's bring him on in. All right. CSRN was formed 7 years ago. Myself, Mike Leonardi, Jabril Bey, two unique individuals that were neither politically inclined or religiously inclined. And they had this idea that regular rank and file people can organize and speak truth to power. So they put this thing together called Community Solidarity Day. We had a protest. We came back to plan the next steps. And we've been meeting ever since.
That's so cool.
We met Julian that way. We met so many activists who would traditionally be not invited, to the table. So we're unbossed. Everything that we do is ours, And Julian, we proud to have him. He is dedicated. There's not a microphone that he won't get in front of. Get it behind. There's not a camera that he wouldn't get in front of. And
is that a compliment?
It is, because look, today so many of us are afraid to speak out.
No, true, yeah.
Because what they call backlash, opposition, blowback, and to have him as a spokesperson that would take our most radical ideas and articulate it to everyone. So he's the one that they will be upset with first. But we need somebody out there.
Yeah.
All right. And that's the person. So welcome, Julian. All right. Welcome.
Glad to be here.
Right.
I just want to say that this idea of like a barbershop beauty shop tour. I grew up watching political campaigns a lot. I was like a little baby at the Jesse Jackson for President rally, right? Like, and it was, we went to you all visited several barbershops that were an integral part of my youth, right? Foster's, I remember waiting there for hours for a cut when I was, in my preteen years. And Steve's is a shop that I go to all the time whenever I need centered or whenever I just need to be in touch with with community, right? And people like me. And so, being how I got involved in this space in the first place is, I was already had like a political background, and I started to see this disconnect between the things that I was voting for and what was actually affecting my actual everyday life. And so since I've been an activist, I have been trying diligently to get several candidates to do a barbershop and beauty shop tour, because to me, that's where we hear the real issues that impact our everyday lives. And I knew that we needed to bridge this gap between the policy that people actually vote for and what people talk about in the barbershop. And I thought it would be a great idea for a candidate to be that bridge, And so I thank you for having the courage to not just step in one barbershop, but several today, and have those real unscripted conversations with real people. That's really what Toledo is like, right? Those are what really Toledoans are. And I want to know, first off, what was your impression of real Toledoans, and what stood out, and what is something that you plan on taking with you that maybe you had or hadn't thought about before on this campaign trail?
Well, one, I love real Toledo. So I look forward to continuing to come back and meet more people. And I would say, and maybe not a huge surprise, but just the level of sophistication about what issues face us as a community. And we're in this period that I'd be interested in your thoughts, but it's kind of ironic that a lot of our leaders are clueless, and a lot of people on the ground are the most aware of what's happening and have a sense of what is and isn't working. And so that played out, in the conversations that we were having. Some of the other themes that came up, people really challenging me about how I'm going to be different, how I'm not going to sell out, how I'm going to overcome the disillusionment that people feel. And those are the core questions, not just for me as a candidate for United States Senate, but for all of us as a community. If we have people that don't feel like engaging does anything, or if we have people that are facing so much a level of trauma and mental health issues that they can't even think about a community beyond themselves, what is our game plan? And that's the whole reason we didn't even get to the introduction of why I'm running. That's why I'm running. We can't have another 20 to 30 years that look like the past 20 to 30. We need to have a new style of leadership that is connected and that more than anything cares and that has ability to connect with people, and then take that into those policy fights. So that was really, exciting in a way that people felt comfortable enough opening up to me to share what those views are, and then comfortable enough to challenge me, right? To demand accountability on the spot. That's what I know is like, okay, that's an empowered voter, and we can work with that.
I think there's a overwhelming, it's like overwhelming, right? People are scared that their one vote could actually mean something, right? And that's where apathy comes in. I guess, why should we trust you? Yeah.
Well, yeah, it is a core question. And, and I'll say, I made this leap into politics. This is my second time running for office. I ran for Congress last cycle in Columbus. And I did that because I wasn't satisfied, like you're saying, Julian, I wasn't satisfied with what our options were anymore. At best, I was feeling like, after my time in Washington observing people, at best, we have a lot of people that have no clue what's going on. And at worst, we have a lot of people that do not care or are complicit in everything about this system that isn't working for us. And so once you know that, I couldn't just sit back. I was like, I got to do something about that because I've had the privilege of figuring the system out. And so that's the first thing I would say is I've already been in the belly of the beast. I'm not trying to rise some ladder to get to Washington. I've been in Washington, done the diagnosis, and realized this is what it's going to take to actually make that place work for us. And then also, I'm not taking corporate money. That is something that distinguishes me from my opponent in this race for the Democratic primary and from a lot of sitting members of the United States Senate. And it is the first step to getting any sort of true representative democracy, because we don't have that anymore. We have an institution of government that has been bought and sold to large corporations over our entire adult lives and now has their interests at heart, not the interests of regular people. And then the third thing I would say is I'm self-imposing term limits, 2 terms in the United States Senate. And then I should have something to show for that time. And I should be prepared to pass the baton to someone else. And some people push back on that. They're like, well, what if we really like you and you're really good? It's like, okay, you can really like me and I'll be really good in some other capacity or supporting somebody else to be a senator. But we need to start rebuilding trust in government to show people that we can have politicians that are about anything but just themselves.
Thank you.
All right. You know what? I went to, we try to do our research and our due diligence, and we went to morganharper.org and we clicked on your issues. And it appears that your top 3 issues are education, healthcare, and childcare. Why are those issues so important to you? Because we heard that in the barbershops also. There was a young man that worked in the barbershop by day, worked at Kroger's by night, has a child with a disability, and he was concerned about, child care. He was concerned about health care. People are concerned about education for our youth to go to the best schools. Why are you so passionate about those 3? You have a lot of other issues that I would love to get to, but we only have a short amount of time here. Healthcare, childcare, education. I'm with that. Why are those so important to you?
Yeah, well, overall, I'm trying to get us to
bear with us. We will be back in just a moment. We're having some technical issues with the internet, and I think we are coming back right now. We are live with United States Senate candidate Morgan Harper, who's visited Toledo today, and is fresh off of a barbershop beauty shop tour where she was able to engage and listen with local people here in the Toledo community. And so what we're doing is discussing how that visit went, as well as discussing the platform. So please hang tight, as we will be right back and discussing with Morgan Harper, who's candidate for United States Senate, Democrat. And we are discussing the barbershop beauty shop tour that happened just today here in Toledo, Ohio. Morgan Harper has been is an organizer. All right, one may ask, why is CSRN doing this today? Right, when we stay sometimes on the we don't endorse any candidates. Well, Morgan Harper is an organizer, right, just like us in Columbus, and so we wanted to see how she worked, right, and engage with her directly. And so it has been an honor and privilege to see the real-time engagement that she's had with members of our community, people in our community that need to be heard, right? One thing that was already discussed was how people at the top of our leadership chain often aren't aware of the issues that are going on, but people on the grassroots level are well aware, and the sophistication that everybody has on a grassroots level is what's needed. And those solutions and understanding of the problems that exist really are making their way. It's important to have leaders like Morgan that can amplify those problems and amplify the solutions through the power chain of democracy that exists in this country. And so that's what was so important about today. That's what was so important about having those conversations on that level, so that, without that type of communication and without that type of engagement, right, it's tough to know that our leaders are real, right? Or people, there's something about being in the barbershop and the beauty shop that authenticity can't really be faked, right? And so I really appreciate Morgan for being there today. And bear with us as we're still trying to work out some of the tech issues. As we're live. This is live, and this is live for real. So bear with us as we were having some technical issues.